My name is Mabel Jemenez. I'm a photographer and reporter here in San Francisco, and today I'm showing my work on some recent trip I took to Tijuana to photograph the shelters where a lot of refugees are staying, a lot of refugees who have the intention of coming into the United States, but because of U.S. immigration law and asylum law becoming more restrictive, people are finding themselves in this migration purgatory, which is what Tijuana has become. People can't move forward into the United States and they can't go back to the places where they're fleeing because of violence. So that's what we're seeing here, and so some of the photos are kind of daily life inside the shelters, and the other half of the photos is more a focus on the actual border wall and the different ways that people interact with it. I've always kind of been just a very visual person, so I've took up photography as a hobby almost 20 years ago. So I've been taking photos for a little bit, and I worked for a few years at El Tecolote. I was the photo editor there for 7 years. Tijuana is a city of migrants, but things have changed quite a bit. Tijuana is still a city very much impacted by migration, but in a different way. When I was growing up there, it was a town that it was more of a stopover town for people on the way to the United States. And now, as U.S. migration policies and asylum policies have become tighter and more restrictive and more inhumane, people are getting basically stuck in Tijuana. When I was out in Tijuana, there were 4,000 refugees in the city. Now there's almost 16,000. So this problem is growing rapidly. There was already people sleeping in the streets, shelters going without food when I was there. So
when were you there?
Late February of this year.
Really? So
yeah.
Not small amount of time.
So from March until now, the population of refugees has more than tripled. So I can't imagine if these shelters were having a hard time when I was there. I can't imagine what's going on now. So again, some of these photos might be uncomfortable to look at. So I appreciate, everybody that's taking the time to kind of see what's behind each photo. I do want to mention that the photos are for sale, and the photos that are on this side of the wall, all of the photos representing the shelters, those photos are gonna, the sale from that is gonna go to the shelter that is in the photo. So if you buy a photo of Little Haiti's gonna get that. In little ways, we have these conversations about what's happening here in the detention camps and stuff, but and we have to keep having those conversations, but we have to remember that our laws have consequences that ripple out very far. That's kind of what I have to say about that. I did bring copies of the Tecolote issue that came out a few months ago. I'm going to put them out right here, but so that if you want to read a little more about each of these individual shelters, how they came to be, you're welcome to take one of those copies of Tecolote. And I really want to thank Juan for inviting me to share the photos. Juan and I go way back as I've been involved with El Tecolote for 11 years now, so I really consider you to be, just a really big mentor figure for me, and this is my first solo exhibit, so you're like my padrino of my career, so thank you so much, and not just for allowing me, but for everything that you've done for so many years that I'm sure all of you guys know, and you know the story, but it bears repeating that you've left a mark in the face of Bay Area journalism, especially as it comes to people of color and Latinos being involved in journalism, and that's a legacy that spans generations that, that impact is never going to go away. So thank you for letting me show my photos here, and for all the support that you've given to so many students of color trying to make it. And thank you so much to James Finucci for
thank you. Amazing photos.
handling every detail, the framing, the printing, the everything. So thank you so much.
We look forward to seeing what work you create next?
Known Mabel for quite a few years. Many years ago, I was a photo editor of El Tecolote, and I've always kept in contact, and I was very pleased to find out that she was having her first solo show. So I'm very glad I was able to come to it, and I really appreciate that Juan Gonzalez here in the journalism department, always has availability for people that are doing good work. And so I like the little gallery that they have here. In fact, I think earlier this year, actually last year, I was part of a show here exhibiting some of my work from Nicaragua. But I'm just really happy when new artists are, getting known, and I'm very pleased to see Mabel's work, and I think the work she did in Tijuana is very important for us to see.